Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good afternoon, and welcome to a bit of the Elder Scrolls for Oblivion, or rather, eventually, the Knights of the Nine. Today, we're going to be doing Meridia's Quest. Now, you may have remembered the last part that this was night time. No longer. This is because I've had to make several hundred potions. Well, not, that's a bit of an exaggeration. Basically, drinking cheap wine drains your ability. It does not damage it. So damage it sort of semi-permanently reduces it. It actively reduces it, so you have to seek treatment for it in order to get it back. Draining, however, just wears off after 20 seconds. And it doesn't stack either, so you can't drink 20 bottles of cheap wine. So what I had to do is I had to spend God knows how long in this game finding leeks and flowers to make these potions here, which reduce my they restore my fatigue and reduce my personality. I've also learned as well how hard it is to find leeks in this game. Flour, not so bad. I also had to buy as well this helmet to help out, which reduces my personality. And my personality is now 7. But with the help of rest, I can reduce my personality even further. Or so I believe. And sometimes the game slows down a bit because of that. So there we are now 0 personality. And oh, it's a potion, so it doesn't count. Okay, fine. So we can wait another hour. We can disturb Mira's beauty sleep, and we can talk to her now.
You dare approach my shrine, child of the light? You who walks this plain basking in the light of the warm, cruel sun? Prove to me that you deserve my favor. In anger, my forgotten have lived in peace for many years. They worship me from the dark, basking in their misery and filth. Now, though, some would seek to bring light to their darkness. Priests of Arcade have intruded upon their squalor. I want you to help my forgotten kill these priests of the light. Cast this spell upon the priests. Allow my beloved forgotten to kill the interlopers. When this is done, I shall reward you for your
Oh dear.
efforts.
So, yeah, so if we are to do the Knights of the Nine, yeah, let's do this before we actually become a Crusader of the 8 and 1. Just going to quickly add this map to my map. Not that this cave to my map, rather. Not that it really matters. We're not going to do that much exploring. We are at the tail end of the game. And our time with it. Let's go to anger. Let's find these forgotten and cast this spell on these priests. The reason why we're doing this is because, one, I've actually figured out how to do it. Now I have to use a specific spell. Interesting. Well, what does it actually do? Oh, shroud. 1 foot, 20 seconds. Now, given the amount of money I've lost lately, I think it's only fair that I help myself to some stuff.
Leave us, creature of light.
From darkness to light, from the depths of despair to Arcay's glory, save these poor souls.
Leave us, creature of light.
Leave us, creature of light.
Interestingly, if I light a torch, they react to it.
Burns.
The
Hurts
light.
us. Help us. It burns.
But they don't respond to torchlight spells. If I cast one on myself, do I have one? I should have a very basic one. Yep,
Bringer of light.
not bothered. So,
What do you want? You see.
Hurts us. No. Namira.
No! Fight! Fight the light! Die! No!
by the way, these people have a enchantment cast upon them that fortifies their blunt skill by about 50 to 100 points. Take those robes.
Leave us, creature of light.
So we are. Now, if we kill these things, if we kill the priests, we do not get credit for the quest.
I'm waiting. Leave me alone.
Leave us, creature of light. Leave us.
Leave us, creature of light.
No.
It's not the best quest, but it's kind of got some novelty, but it's probably more fun for me to play than it is for you to watch, so... Yeah. See if there's any secrets. Nearly done.
Kill it. Namira.
You've got the hands of a smith.
Namira.
Must have spent some
Namira.
time bringer
Hurts
of light.
us. Bless.
Hey, what?
Namira.
No.
No.
Show me what you've got.
Burns.
Save
Namira. No. Hurts us.
Kill
Arcade.
it.
Save. Save me. Save. No. Arcade. Protect me.
Arcade, protect me! Arcade! Save me! I fought blood crab for by the light! Save me! By the light! Arcade! Arcade, by the light!
It's a fairly simple quest. Oh dear, that's not good. Storm ring. Oh, that's good. That would have come in handy a while ago. But no matter. Let's make our way back. So there, nice and quick quest. Fairly appropriate for the level. The greatest challenge is actually reducing your personality. Yeah.
You have cleansed my followers' perfect darkness. The forgotten are free to wallow in their misery.
Perfect dark, you say?
Take my ring. Let it bring pain to others who would wish it upon you. Namira blesses you.
The ring of Nuera. is now mine, and I can get rid of this helmet. I might sell it. Right, blade turn hood. Let's get that back on. Let's got that again. We don't have the shield. So, ring of the mirror. Reflect damage on self-rest, but reflect spell so how bad? Oh yeah, that's all that kind of taken off as well. But yeah. So yeah, that's pretty good.
Namira is pleased, foul one. May your days be filled with the hurtful stares of others. Dwell joyously in filth and squalor. I tried the chapels. They're a waste of time.
As we might find out ourselves.
The ring guides us all.
Yeah. Right, so it's time now to go on our little pilgrimage. Now what's going on here?
Dusty tomes of lore. You study ancient genealogies and rumblings. Who you to know truth? There is truth in blood, but not the truth that you seek. The truth is written in the blood of the innocent, there in the chapel of love. Can you not read the ancient runes? Asaiwibala Umarile El Nadarakuvar, a curse and a threat to those who have eyes to see and ears to hear.
They still aren't letting me live this down.
The prophet speaks true. This is the start of something terrible. I can feel it in my bones.
Come on, Knight of the Nine isn't that bad.
Do me a favor.
I'm Hassethil, Heinrich Oakenhull's wife. The life of a sailor's wife isn't an easy one. Heinrich is at sea 9 months out of 10. But Anvil's a friendly town, and the 9 console me. Mirabelle Monet is quite a woman. Ask any of the sailors down at the forecastle. Good day.
I wouldn't go in there unless you have a strong stomach. We have orders to leave everything just the way it was until the investigation into the chapel attack is finished. It's baffling. How anyone could have gotten in and out of there without being seen by our patrols is beyond me. Maybe that prophet is right. Some kind of unholy doom visited upon us. He preaches most of the day across the street from the chapel. I used to think he was crazy, but now he seems to be making some kind of sense. I hope that doesn't mean I'm going crazy now. I'm not listening to you. It's because I don't like you. I'm done talking to you.
Chapel of Develop, what can we find? Priests slaughtered. We can't pray here. Lanterns are brought down, there's blood everywhere. And cryptic runes line the floor in blood. Ancient spirits run halls. Clearly someone's gone to great efforts to, indeed something has gone to upset this place. Song of Pelinal. They will be taking those. I'm going to need those, I think, to understand the tale of Pelinal Whitestrake. All of these books are starting to become rather important. Trials of Saint Alessia, that's another one as well that we need to know about. Yeah, disastrous sight. Now I was under the impression that when you went to a chapel, the patron god of the chapel would always be there. So it should be Debella there, not there. But, oh my word. Clearly they had it out for her. That was my impression anyway. I'm evidently wrong. Yes. The bells are ringing on the air.
Children are starving. Oh my! To what do I owe this honor? I am but a humble prophet. What business do you have with me? This is only the beginning. Umaril has returned, as foretold by Pelinal Whitestrake in his dying breath. Umaril the Unfeathered! The sorcerer king of the aliens, who ruled over this land for long ages before the rise of men. He was cast down by Pelinal Whitestrake, but Umaril's spirit survived, and now he has returned to seek vengeance upon the gods. Does no one remember the old tales? Saint Pelinal, the divine crusader of legend, Alicia's companion, and she overthrew the rule of the aliens 3,000 years ago. Pelinal, with the aid of the gods, fought the alien sorcerer King Umaril and slew him. But Umaril's spirit survived, and he has now returned. Do you understand nothing? The blood speaks. I can read the ancient runes if you cannot. As uibala, umarale el nada rakuva. In the alien tongue, by the eternal power of Umaril, the mortal gods shall be cast down. A curse upon Umaril's ancient foes, and a threat. Alas, Umaril cannot be stopped. Not without the aid of the gods, not without the Crusaders' relics. Without a champion, the gods are powerless to act. But who among us is worthy to wield the divine Crusader's weaponry? You would quest for the holy panoply of Pelinal Whitestrake, the legendary relics that have been sought by mighty warriors throughout the ages? Are you a worthy knight?
And this is why I left this DLC to the end. Interestingly, one of them here does not show up, even though it was supposed to be fixed in the unofficial Elder Scrolls patch. The Grand Champion of the Arena, where he goes, "By Azura! Of course you're a worthy knight. Who else will be better qualified to find the relics than one who slaughters for public entertainment?" But it isn't here.
Indeed. And yet you would seek the holy relics. The gods will find you an interesting plaything, I have no doubt. The gods grant insight to those they deem worthy. Why and how they act is not predictable. What I can tell you is that, traditionally, knights who wish to quest for the relics would walk the pilgrim's way, travel to the way shrines of the 9 divines, pray to each of the gods in turn, and ask their favor upon your quest. If the gods deem you worthy, you will be granted a sign. Go forth with the 9's blessing. The weapons and armor of Pelinal Whitestripe, Alicia's comrade, granted to him by the 8 divines. He went alone into the White Gold Tower, challenged the alien sorcerer King Umaril to single combat, and slew him. Alas, Umaril was not truly slain, but only cast beyond the bounds of Earth. And now he has returned to wreak his vengeance upon the gods, as was prophesied by Pelinal himself with his dying breath. Only a true knight, wielding the holy relics of the Divine Crusader, has a chance to defeat Umaril. But alas for Tamriel, the Crusader's relics have been lost for much. Who now can succeed in the quest for the relics, where the greatest knights of legend all fail? Once there were 8 divines, then Tiber Septim became Talos, and the 8 became 9. I followed the old way of honoring the 8 while also giving due to Talos, the one who ascended. He was defeated but not destroyed by Pelinal the Crusader. Now he has returned to seek vengeance against the gods. Only a true knight, wielding the holy relics of the Divine Crusader, has a chance to defeat Umaril. For those who would repent their past deeds, walking the pilgrim's way is a traditional way to cleanse yourself before the gods. Follow the map I gave you. Visit the way shrines of the 9. Pray and wait for a sign. May the 8 and 1 guide your steps. Is there no...
If we want to continue on our quest, let's go to each of the shrines. Now, if you answer any of those things, like, he does actually have respect for you. Like, even if you do say, like, not unless the Grey Fox is a knight, unless the Grey Fox is a knight, he'll actually say, like, oh, an honest thief. You'll have to speak to Xanathar about that one and debate that paradox. You know, and things like that. You know, they are quite cool. But yeah, if you're the Grand Champion, they'll say like, "And I salute you." You will have no problems with that. If you join the Fighters Guild, you'll say, "Oh, in that case, then your fellow mercenaries will have no problems helping you finding it." If you're the Archmage of the Mages Guild, he will say, you know, "Oh, you know, like, and you are a worthy replacement." You are no doubt a worthy replacement. Again, you'll have no problems finding. Ooh. Is that indeed one of the way shreds? Let's have a look at the map. So, RK is just up there. So we're actually going to run to each of the cities and have a bit of a chat as we do. So this quest, so we've already done the Pilgrim's Way much earlier in the series, but the reason why go on, let's have this camp. Really quickly at this camp. Just one more camp, guys. One more camp. I believe that's actually a trainer's camp. So which way are we going? So near Kvatch Way. I do actually need a wolf pelt, so that's handy. So I'm going the wrong way. I need to go to Kvatch Way. So, where was I? Yeah, so we've already done the Pilgrim's Way, but because we have an infamy, infamy, they've all got an infamy. Alright, of 62 from doing various quests for the Darbrother and Thieves Guild et al. We have.
Crime doesn't pay. We have long memories. We won't forget.
That's a low personality dialogue.
He preaches in it. Appeared right after the attack on the chapel there. Sounds like the usual doom-saying nonsense. You're talking to me, and I don't like you. Goodbye. Carry on.
So yeah, so because you've got infamy, you have to do the Pilgrim's Way again. And if you have infamy above 2, you cannot wear the items of the Crusader. You cannot use the relics of the Crusader. So you've got to be careful with that. So, the Shrine of Arcade is not going to be far from here. So yeah, these don't show up on your traditional map. You have to actually go to these places yourself. And as annoying as this may be, this is actually something of a throwback to Morrowind, with I think the DLC Tribunal. Therein you have, or rather wherein you have to pay tribute to the shrines, and yeah, you have to go on a pilgrimage. And I know, more locations on my map. Fort Warrior. Not Fort Wario, by the way. Should be along that bump there.
Oh!
Usually outside the cities. We'll just double check. So just before the bump in the road there, so we've gone too far. So we should be going along this way. You will see the odd crusader on the path looking for the shrines themselves. There they will pray. And one has a squire as well.
Oh!
So it should be along this way. Yes, as I recall, I think it is actually down further that way, in the plains. There it is. So, yeah, so this is like a sort of throwback to there. But it really is like an old school RPG quest, like more, like Oblivion was like the beginning of the end for... Oh, never mind. I've apparently completed my quest.
Hail, knight! You seek my relics with a worthy heart.
Okay, right.
Your prayers have woken me from my endless dream. Or perhaps you have entered my dream, and I still sleep. I think others have sometimes spoken to me. Others like me. Memory is doubtful. Perhaps the others came after me. Your need must be great for the gods to allow us to speak. As word of the accursed found no fact, the face of a foul race, 1,000 curses upon his unholy name. I thought I won, but I should have known. The slave masters are uncomfortable. Umarin found a way to cheat death as I could not. If you would seek for my relics, I know with you. All that has passed since my death is like mist in my mind. Take hold of my friends. Build a shrine upon the site of my death. Final act of revenge. I can show you where it once stood. Perhaps it is there still. Fare thee well, sir knight. May the gods grant you.
So we've met Pelennor Whitestrake. He sent me this way and that. Let's just go to Cropsford and we'll go there ourselves. So yeah, so that was a bit shorter than I was expecting, so that's handy, isn't it? Yeah, okay, right. So yeah, like, Oblivion is often considered like the beginning of the end of like RPGs as we knew them, with things like quest markers and such, but this was like a quest where, no, you actually got to read material and go look around and stuff. and it very much feels like an old school RPG quest. It's one where like it's kind of unique to religion in a way. It's like if you want to be like a you know, like a worthy crusader, you want to be like the avatar of a good cause, then you have to go on a pilgrimage. You have to earn these powers. Like, this goes back to like Ultima. In terms of video games at least, this goes back to Ultima where like where in order to become the avatar of the 8 virtues, you had to quest for this stuff. And you had to prove your worthiness. Yeah, as I was saying, you had to like prove your worthiness as a member of that cause. In D&D, like in fact, what I love about like really old D&D was like, if you wanted to be like if you wanted to like level up, you actually kind of had to go to your local game store, find whoever had an archmage, no, like an archdruid. If you wanted to be like an archdruid, you had to kill the last person who, well, the last character who became an archdruid. Yeah. You had to go to your game store and say like, look, I want this item, I want to do this quest, I need a group of people to do it with. So it kind of takes me back to that. You wanted to be a bard? Okay, you had to find a druid player who would teach you how to be a bard. Yeah. It's like, I would have been able to play D&D if it were for things like that remaining in the game today, but it's an old throwback that I really like. The idea how it's almost like a war game. Yeah. Which I thought was immensely clever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, not only that, but like the whole thing of like infamy is a big thing for paladins. So if you're not familiar with the idea of paladins in role-playing games, paladins are like holy warriors. They have a certain code. They have, or they worship a god. They get their power from a god. And if they, you know, lose their faithfulness in their god, or if they're like clerics as well, they can actually lose their powers, and they can become an anti-paladin. This is a paladin who's broken their vows. You're like a knightly chivalric order. Yeah, you can just lose your powers and you can become evil and get evil powers as a result. Yeah, if you devote yourself to a evil cause.
Oh. Yeah.
So yeah. Knights of the Nine does kinda like, the thing is that what I like about Knights of the Nine is like it does sort of have a lot of those, I guess, like, I want to say like alt-right themes of like being appropriated by, rather themes that have been appropriated by the alt-right. The whole Deus Vult meme and such. Yeah. It's like, because Penelon Whitestraight is not that good a guy. He's like, yeah, okay, he killed the king of the aliens, you know, but that's like, and that's great that he did that. But like, we also can't admit that. You know, we've also got to admit that, you know, he went on a killing spree against all elves or whatever. You know, even those that weren't aliens. He still went up against the Altmer. He had fought and killed Khajiit, who were not involved, but he just mistook them for elves. Yeah, he went on rampant murdering sprees, and it was murder. There was no... There was nothing else to it. Let's read. Yeah, I don't think we're meant to go there that easily. But yeah, let's see this through properly. What a beautiful helmet it is. We'll get that in a minute. We'll do one first, then we'll read Sir Darren. Yeah, like Penelon Whitestraight, he's like a hero of, you know, Cyrodiil and I guess like the free world, as we would call it. That said, you know, like this is after like Morrowind, and yeah, we've seen like how the slavery there went, how it still goes on, how it was resisted by a great many Dunmer, how even, you know, all these years later, you know, still get treated like shit, because yeah, in an Imperial's lifetime 200 years might not be that long a time, but for the, you know, for a lot of other races it's like, yeah, it's that can be a long time. So let's read the journal. So we want to read Sir Emil's journal. We've got a lot of reading to do, by the way, so I apologise if this gets a bit too long, or if this, I think we don't really need that many, we don't need all 3 copies, right? This journal is a record of my failure. My failure. In the immediate sense, this is no doubt obvious. If you are reading this, you are probably standing over my body, slain in the depths at the shrine of the Crusader. Perhaps the gods have granted me the gift of at least glimpsing the Holy Realm before I died, undeserving though I am. I must believe that you are indeed a holy knight, following in my footsteps in the quest of the Crusader's relics. It is up to you, Sir Knight, of my hopes, that I direct these words, where the account of my failures help you avoid my fate. Know that my failures encompass far more than my own death, which is of little account at the end of a long life. The high ideals of the Knights of the Nine, of service to the gods rather than men, of dedication to a higher purpose, these are my failures, as I shall record here. As I write this, the scratching of my pen, the only sound of the empty priory. I am preparing to embark on my last quest for the helm of the Crusader. I know that my chance of success is small. I am too old for such a task. This quest should have been taken up by the next generation of Knights of the Nine, where Sir Caius and Sir Beric and the rest of us are stayed behind and spun tales of our old days of glory. Alas, there is no next generation. Sir Beric is my embittered enemy. The rest of my old companions are all dead. There's only me, the last stubborn knight of a failed order. For many years I blamed Sir Beric for the dissolution of the Order, but in my old age I have finally come to recognize my own part in those tragic events. I now believe that the seeds of our destruction were sown early, although the fruit did not ripen until late. Even in the first headed days, questing for the caress of Zacchaeus, questing for the caress with Zacchaeus and Satorolf, I set the pattern of personal glory. The caress was mine, and although it resided in the Priory, I wore it into battle and accepted the acclaim of my fellows and the people for its recovery. And so it went. The Sword of the Greaves, recovered by Sir Beric, became his personal arms, and the gauntlets to Sir Casimir. Why not? Should those holy weapons lie idle while there was evil to be vanquished? And who more fitting to carry them than the knight who had proved himself so worthy by their recovery? So we told ourselves, so I told myself. But all that flowed from this. When Sir Beric wanted to take his relics with him to the war, who was I to forbid him? I who would jealously consider the caress of my own, and none others. Sir Beric was wrong, but I was wrong first. And the blame for the dispute of the relics falls first on me, the leader and founder of the knights, who should have set a higher example, but was instead first to claim a relic for my own. Sir Beric's later actions I will leave for others to judge, but I will let it be known that I do not blame him for the dissolution of the knights. If he would speak to me, I would tell him so myself. He and I are all that are left of the original knights. The others are all dead, and I have dedicated myself to the recovery of their bodies and interring them in the Priory Undercroft, as is fitting for such holy warriors. Alas, they do not have the leader that they deserved. Now it is time for me to depart on my quest for the helm. If you would follow in my footsteps tonight, know that the Priory basement, at least, will remain inviolate. I have sealed the stairs, and only my ring will now open it. My brother knights will sleep in peace, in company with the caress, the only relic that remains the Order's keeping. I say that, although the Order is officially dissolved, hoping and believing that the Knights of the Nine will one day be reborn. Perhaps you are the one to restore the Order. If so, go to the Priory in the Westfield. Use my ring to enter the vaults beneath their Priory house. There you will find the cuirass, and claim it for your own if you are a true knight. May the Nine guard and guide you. Farewell. Sir Emil, Priory of the Nine, the Westfield, Countess Kingrad, year 153 of the Septim Era. So... we've heard of what happened to the knights, where they got a bit too big for their britches. Yeah, but who were the aliens? Well, the aliens were the Highland Elves, the Colovian Elves, who had enslaved, basically everyone. And it was they who basically allowed Queen Alicia to, the first Queen of the Empire to basically become who she was. Through, of course, the tragic circumstances that she did. She was a slave. That's interesting. This is the only exit then, there's no other treasures to be found. Nope. Where do we go now? To the Priory of the Nine. Now I believe this building, that this Gate of Oblivion was risen from. Oh fucking hell, Civil Eye. As I was saying, I believe this... no, sorry, I got that wrong. Never mind, there's another house I'm thinking of. It wasn't it was a house. But yeah, there's a unique house in the game that if you manage to find it before the quest triggers, it's unmarked. I think it has like 2 bandits in it. If it's... I was going to say it's there. Somewhere around this region here. Yeah, it's a unique house that was like basically flattened by the by an Oblivion gate. Here we are at the Priory of the Nine. As you can see, it's in somewhat disrepair. There we have stained glass. There's Pelennor Whitestrake against King Umaril the Unfeathered, who, much like Jiglag, uses, I think, a 2-handed sword in one hand. But yeah, there's a unique house here that's like it's like 3 levels, 3 stories, and it's like it's just in the wilderness. And it looks like it's been used for like testing purposes, but I don't think it actually was. I think it's actually somewhere over there. Yes, we really are looking for a house that is completely unmarked on the map. Is that it there? This is the one! I never actually thought I'd find it again, but yes, this is the house. Ordinary flattened by a Oblivion gate. Or at least I think it was supposed to be. Ooh, leaks. I need those. Should have come here for them. Isolated house.
Yes, it was nothing.
Another link. Despite the peaceful music, there are bandits here. And it is like a in fact, let's just repair my gear real quick. It is like a Bravil house, like down there. Then you get this interesting roof, upstairs area. Like, just beyond what it is, it's like, it's not that important or special. There's nothing really to it, but it's just strange, like, this is a unique house just put out here, randomly in a field, with two bandits. I think it's always those, I think it's always a Red Guard and a Khajiit. Yeah. So this is a house I've always wanted to see again, and I'm glad that I did. Those are the moments that I live for in Oblivion. And this is like kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to record, not specifically this house, but things like it, you know, where it's like you just come across this random stuff. Again, completely unmarked on the map. So yeah, there you go. Yeah. So anyway, to the Priory of the Known. If it's not flattened by the Deidre, it might be flattened by the Auroras, but we'll do what I'm seeing of. So let's first of all have a look inside the chapel. Yeah. Come up here again. Standing fair. It's alright. But it's in here that the magic happens. Or it would. If not for the fact that, there we are. That's an iron symbol. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go, some unique banners there. Yeah, the place has been ransacked. We've got this Rakshazzah and the Divines. Ooh. Yeah, so you have got at least a bet. You got the Abadallah, which we will read. We'll read a lot of books, I think. I'd like to think we will. So yeah, not much to begin with. But then, if we just go here. So Emil's ring fits perfectly into the diamond-shaped floor opening in the hall. Ain't that cool? Ain't that just marvellous? And here we are in the basement. Again, that music, that foreboding music where we don't really belong. Typical Fighters Guild basement. Unique door. Again, 4 diamonds, and then you got the one there. Not much to see here, really. Are we ready to enter the Priory Undercroft? I hope so, because I just opened the door. And that's upstairs. That's the real angle, the other one was reversed, but yeah. You can see as well the red crest there. Upstairs is not as clear. That's Johnbonne. That's Sir Alvis. Sir Henrik. Sir Caius. Sir Casimir. Sir Torolf. I said Jorolf earlier, I meant Torolf. Samuel. Sir Gregory.
By the strength and guidance of the Nine, who comes before us upon this sacred ground, seeking the cuirass of the Divine Crusader? Step forward, adventurer, and face us each in honorable combat. Vows we fail to reveal in life, we shall. No unworthy soul shall lay hands upon this sacred artifact without some
Anyone want to go next? Oh, by the way, I have the helm. Look at that, ain't it gorgeous? It is a nice helm.
Sir Cassidy, step forward.
Let's also, you know, use their own weapons. A nice shield. Fine steel longsword. That's a fine steel longsword, by the way.
Here! You are listening, Sir Cassidy. Sir, run. Standing.
You can get this gear in the Creation Club for Bethesda with the it's like the Knights of the Nine relics. Or Crusader relics. They are pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I will give that to Bethesda. It's like they don't just automatically give you the stuff. Like, you have to do a quest for it. And I kind of like that.
Show the challenger the ferocity of the North. Yeah. Ha.
So Sir Torolf cannot accept my yield. Go on, I want your bodies to see you getting your ass kicked by a minor skill user.
You have stood against the Knights of the Nine. The final test is upon you. Ready yourself, sir, and face me!
mean, if you don't want to do it that way, that's fine. Well, you are anyway. Come on, I'll do it one-handed. Cannot charge you like that, you prick. Yeah, get in your spot there, champ.
In 300 years, none have stood against us. Greetings, champion.
Oh.
I am. You completed the quest that I could not. I'm glad that my death at least served to lead you here, as I had hoped.
Sorry for interrupting that.
The original Order of the Nine was founded with the intention of safekeeping the Crusaders' relics. In life, we fail in this task. In death, we seek to preserve what little we accomplished while we wait for one to come and finish what we began. One of the mightiest knights of my day. It was a great boost to the Order's prestige when he joined. Unfortunately, he and I did not see eye to eye on certain matters. He left the Order during the War of the Red Diamond and never returned. Good day.
I believe the War of the Red Diamond might well have been the War of Elysia.
We took an oath to protect the Curus in death. The one who could defeat us is the one who is meant to have it. Our greed for the relics overshadowed our faith in the Nine. I can only hope that you are stronger than we were. Walk with the Nine, Sir Knight.
Your sword and your faith are true. You may claim the cuirass with my leave.
I'm so glad I can. Thank you for your permission.
We had only the best of intentions. Truly we did. We meant only to serve the Nine and the Empire. It's hard to believe it all went so wrong.
I'm glad I have your permission after I paid for this thing.
May your sword strike true.
Your sword and your faith are true. You may claim the cuirass with my leave.
Thanks.
Though we went our separate ways when the Order fell, we all served the Nine in our hearts. All but one. Go with virtue.
The cuirass of the Crusader represents our greatest achievements as servants of the Nine. We protect it, even in death. In matters of faith, one cannot be bogged down in the affairs of this world. Learn from us. Cast aside your treasures and serve the Nine. May your sword strike true.
Your sword and your faith are true. You may claim the cuirass with my leave. Complacency proved to be our greatest enemy. The service of the Nine requires eternal vigilance. Walk with the Nine, Sir Knight.
The cuirass of the Crusader represents our greatest achievements as servants of the Nine. We protect it, even in death. In death, we continue to learn escapism. The relics must still be guarded for. Someday, shall we meet once more. Alas, my old comrade is not among us here. We do not know why his spirit did not join us here to guard our last relic. We were estranged in life, but I had hoped that in death we could be reconciled. For my part, I now know that I am largely to blame for the ruin of the old order. Sir Amiel takes too much upon himself. I will say,
no more. Walk with the Nine, Sir Knight.
And with that we will climb the cross. The Crusader. So we've got a shield, we've got a fine long sword. There will be a sword of the Crusader. It actually looks pretty good. The hood and the it looks like that. The helm of the Crusader. It looks really good. Bear in mind as well, like, I will say now that like the whole Days Full outright thing, this came out I'd say many years, about a good 10 years before any of that came about. So I'm not saying that Bethesda in any way align themselves with that. I think what they were clearly trying to go for was like an Arthurian, like Knights of the Round Table romp, rather than any sort of seriousness. If you want the seriousness, it's in the books, but otherwise, yeah. So,
I am at your service, Commander.
I recognise as Commander.
May your sword strike true. By the Nine, I've not seen such strength. Could you be... No, you cannot. You are simply a noble knight.
Walk with the Nine, Sir Knight. I know where you may find the gauntlets of the Crusader, for I was the one who lost them. Though many know where they are still lost. I believe there is something you must do in order to retrieve them. Would you listen to my tale and learn of the gauntlet's fate?
Yes, I would.
When the order fractured, I followed Sir Beric into war, taking the gauntlets with me. When it was over, I returned to Cyrodiil. I attempted to return to the service of the Nine, but the war had changed me. I no longer had sympathy for them or pity for the suffering. In the brief time I was there, I did more to hurt the chapel than help it. It was there that I was cursed. A beggar who came to the chapel each day for help tried my patience one too many times. I lost my temper and struck him. My blow landed harder than I had intended, and he fell to the floor dead, killed in the very chapel of the God of Mercy. I left the chapel at once, of course, when the damage was done. I was weak, constantly weary, and lacked the energy to do almost anything. Ah, yes. As proof of the deed, when I struck the poor man, the gauntlet slipped right off my hands and fell to the floor. Heavy as stone, they would not move. None could lift them. I suspect they lie there still, in Coral's chapel. You must prove to Stendarr you are worthy to lift the gauntlets once more. Seek out the priests in Coral. Perhaps they can help you. It was placed on me for defying the teachings of Stendarr in his very chapel. My entire lineage was ruined by this curse. Whether it is connected to the fate of the gauntlets, I do not know.
If so, it's not a very merciful god, is it? That their entire lineage... Okay, I get cursing that guy. His entire lineage. That's entirely unfair.
I have no doubt that they still lie within the chapel of Stendarr in Coral. No mortal man could lift them. May your sword strike true.
You mean the back of my hand?
You have my tribute, Sir Knight. In 300 years, none have passed the gauntlet. In 300 years, we have never known. But for the first time, it seems that someone may succeed where we have failed. I see in you the chance to redeem our souls and restore the order. And now, I must ask you to press forward where I could not. I must ask you to face the challenge of Zenithar. I was arrogant and foolhardy. I sought personal glory. I placed my own will and my own lust for fame over the will of the Nine. In facing the challenge of Zenithar, I failed. I tried dozens, no, hundreds of times to reach the mace. I fell each time, and each time I awoke in the chapel, I leapt again. I tried to enlist the help of the other knights, but none would come to my aid. The inscription says to walk in the faith, but even now, I do not know what this means. Below the chapel of Zenithar in Leopold, there is a shrine to the great craftsman, St. Calidus. Those seeking the mace must pray before the shrine. When you bow, you will receive a vision, or perhaps not, it is unclear. The priest saw that my body never moved, but it felt so real. You will see the mace separated from you by a great chasm. The chasm represents your doubt. Your faith must be your guide across it. This is what I know. As I said, my faith was weak. I did not understand the test, and I fell from the platform each time I tried to cross. I have told you all that I know. All that is left is for you to prove yourself more worthy than I. If you seek the mace, travel to Leowin's chapel, kneel at the shrine in the underground, and let your faith in the Nine be the salvation of us all.
I think I'll go for this one first, because it's quite interesting.
Casimir left with the gauntlets when the order dissolved. I heard that he lost them, but I had my own problems to deal with. Legends say that when Pelinal Whitestrake was slain by the Aelids, a messenger carried the mace to the human settlement of Leowin as a message. Centuries later, the master craftsman St. Calidus built the chapel of Zenithar in Leowin as a tribute to the legend. When St. Calidus was laid to rest, those who prayed to Zenithar at his tomb began to receive visions of the mace of the Crusader. Of the original divines, Zenithar is thought to be the most in touch with the mortal realm. Some legends say that Zenithar has close ties to Kinneret, an idea that is supported by the manner in which the two gods' realms interact. Craftsmen devoted to Zenithar are able to create and profit from the materials provided by Kinneret's natural world. The two work in harmony, the natural world providing for the craftsman. One cannot revere Zenithar without acknowledging the power of Kinneret. May your sword strike true.
I am at your service, Commander. The gauntlets were recovered by Sir Casimir, one of our few victories during our time. But then, even our victories became our failure. Sir Raldus quested for the mace after Sir Beric's betrayal. He believed that with the mace, he would be able to bring the rest of us together. He stayed in the chapel of Leowin for months, attempting the test over and over. He hardly ate, hardly slept. In the end, he failed. He left the chapel broken and beaten. Sir Amiel found his body and laid him to rest here at the Priory.
I am at your service, Commander. Sir Casimir took the gauntlets to war with him. After what happened with Beric, who would try to stop him? May your sword strike true.
I am at your service, Commander.
May your sword strike.
Greetings, Sir Knight.
After Beric betrayed us, Sir Raldus journeyed to the chapel of Leowin to tempt Zenithar's test of faith.
He tried to reach the mace again and again, failed each time. He became obsessed with it,
refusing food or drink for days. When I finally received word of his quest, I went searching for him. But I was too late. Sir Johnbonne helped me carry his body back here. I failed my friend, and I failed Zenithar. Perhaps you can succeed where Sir Ralvis could not. Redeem us both. May yours
You can swap relics, place them.
strike true. How may I serve? Walk with the knife, sir.
So you can place them there. You can take them. I think that acts as safe storage, but don't quote me on that. So yeah. So we have our quests to find the relics of the 8 and 1. So, this one's a fun one. We can't do this one yet, but you're going to see why we can't do it. Let's save the game real quick. I am very, very cautious about saving the game now.
I've heard of you. You're the one restoring the Knights of the Nine, aren't you? My name is Kennedy Sahola. Like you, I am a servant of the Nine, specifically of Zenithar. I came here seeking his mace. However, I could not pass the test. I'm no crusader, but that doesn't mean that I cannot serve Zenithar. In light of recent attacks, I've signed on to protect the chapel. I'm fair with the blade, and by my honor, I'll serve the Nine in any way I can. Of the original divines, Zenithar is thought to be the most in touch with the mortal realm. Some legends say that Zenithar craftsman.
Yeah, we've had that.
Legends say that when Colonel Whitestrike was slain by the aliens, a messenger carried the mace to the human settlement of Leopold as a message. Centuries later, the
Yeah, we've had that.
legends say of the original device.
Yeah, I've had that as well.
He seemed
So, he wears iron armour, but has a Legion shield. Most interesting.
So you're the one that's come for the mace, are you? Another adventurer looking for treasure? Get on with it if you must. The shrine is downstairs. But I wouldn't expect much if I were you. No one has ever succeeded. May you find healing here for your wounds and for your troubled spirit. There's a peace here in the chapel for all who seek it.
You changed your tune.
Legends say that when Pelinal White sent you... You too.
Right, let's pray at all the shrines. Ah, we need to find another shrine.
You've got some nimble finger.
Hopefully my personality's back up. It is indeed.
Yes, I heard of you. Found a few relics and you imagine yourself to be the next Whitestrake, do you?
Charming.
Please, go on. I used to be a priest of the Tribunal Temple in Kragenmore. After the collapse, I drifted for a while until I joined the chapel. The beggars and the wicked thieves guild still trouble me. I wish the 9 divines offered charity and comfort to the poor, like the temple did. The Church has taken no official position on his teaching yet, but from the reports I've heard, he may be truly inspired by the divines. I wish I had witnessed the avatar of divine Akatosh myself. Imagine, upon the very altar of the Temple of the One. Take care. Yes. Only quality goods for sale here. What can I interest you in?
Just so I can level my skill.
Tell your friend. Take care.
A pleasure to speak with you. Goodbye.
So we can go to the Undercroft. Hall. Let's see if there's any new books here.
Provinces.
Nothing I'd like to do.
I must admit my curiosity at your endeavor. So many have tried and failed to retrieve the mace. What makes you think that you will succeed?
Spirits don't seem bothered. I wonder if it's because I'm wearing the relics. So here we go. Must allow my faith in the 9 to give me the mace. Well, I'm feeling pretty darn faithful. Oh dear. So, I actually wonder if my acrobatics is high enough. Oh no, they're very, very specific about that. So I just ran off before, but can I actually reach it? Ooh. Very nearly. Do I have the boots of Spring Heel Jack by any chance? I should not. Okay, fair enough. Let's take off my gear. Nope, not quite. It was, of course, worth a try. So, I must put my faith in material goods, it seems. So now we're going to go to Coral and find out if we can take the gauntlets. Because there is a sort of linear order in which you can get these items. They'll require different tests.
How do you do? Welcome, Knight Commander. The gauntlets, eh? They're a Relder's responsibility. Speak to him about them. Take care.
It's too heavy to move.
What's happened? Has been killed. Murdered by the Dark Brotherhood. It's true. I saw the body myself.
brings you here, my son? Sometimes I just go look at the great oak. Magnificent, don't you think?
Had you been impressed by wood in my time?
Ah, yes. The gauntlets have been here for ages. I know only the basic story behind them. They're more of a novelty these days. My only real involvement with them these days is keeping the youngsters from hurting themselves trying to pick the gauntlets up. What is your interest in them, if I may ask? Yes, well, I don't know the whole thing. A great many years ago, a knight of the old order did something terrible, and the gauntlets just fell off. They dropped to the floor right where he stood, and no one could lift them. It was a sign of the curse placed upon this knight by Stendhal. That curse still lingers on today, in fact. Or can it? Oh, why, he's a descendant of that very knight from so long ago. The curse has affected his family all these years. He suffers from it now. He came here from Hammerfell seeking a cure, but, well, there's really nothing that can be done for him, I think. He may know more of the story than I. Perhaps you should speak with him if he's feeling well enough. It's a horrible thing, truly. One cannot help but pity those such as Kellen, who have such a burden placed on them through no fault of their own. But if it is the will of the Nine, then there is little that can be done. He's down in the chapel hall, resting. You may speak to him if you like. The gauntlets have been here far longer than any of us. I don't expect that to ever change. They'll almost certainly be here long after we're all gone. Certainly after Kellen's family has died out. Ask Kellen about
You look like someone who's comfortable.
I've got to read this just because I'm... If this is what I think it is, this isn't good, but... Notes on racial phylogeny and biology, 7th edition, with the Council of Healers, Imperial University. After much analysis of living specimens, the Council long ago determined that all races of elves and humans may mate with each other and bear fertile offspring. Generally, the offspring bear the racial traits of the mother, though some traits of the father's race may also be present. It's less clear whether the Argonians and Khajiits are interfertile with both humans and elves, though there have been many reports over the years of children from these unions, as well as stories of unions with Daedra. There have been no well-documented offspring. Khajiits differ from humans and elves not only in their skeletal and dermal physiology, the fur that covers their bodies, but in their metabolism and digestion as well. Argonians, like the Drey, appear to be a semi-aquatic limnophilic form of humans, though that is by no means clear whether the Argonians should be classified with Drey, Menma, or, in this author's opinion, certain tree-dwelling lizards in Black Marsh. The reproductive biology of orcs is at present not well understood, and the same is true of goblins, trolls, harpies, Drey, Saesi, Imgur, various Daedra, and many others. Certainly there have been cases of intercourse between these races, generally in the nature of rape or magical seduction, but there have been no documented cases of pregnancy. Still, the infertility of these creatures and civilized hominids has yet to be empirically established or refuted, likely due to the deep cultural differences. Surely any normal Bosmer or Breton impregnated by an orc would keep that shame to herself. Oh my word. And there's no reason to suppose that the orc maiden impregnated by a human would not likely be always be ostracized by her society. Regardless, our oaths as healers keep us from forcing a coupling to satisfy our scientific knowledge. We do, however, know know, however, that the Sloda Thras are hermaphrodites in their youth, and later reabsorb their reproductive organs once they are old enough to move out on land. It can be safely assumed that they are not interfertile with men or mer. One might further wonder whether the proper classifications of the same races, to use the imprecise but useful term, should be made from the assumption that of common heritage and differences between them have arisen from magical experimentation, the manipulations of the so-called earth bones, or the gradual changes from one generation to the next. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Interestingly, it's interesting that Oblivion talks about this, nearly 20 years before D&D started moving from the term races to lineages, or folk, or culture, or persons, or peoples. Yeah, just admire this picture here in the centre of the screen. In fact, let's admire it a bit more. Let's read Proper Lock Design, one of my favourite books. Proper Lock Design and Construction. I have encountered many thieves whose sole interest in locks is how to open them and thereby pilfer the protected contents of the room or chest. I have taken it upon myself to devise a system of locks that could defeat such villainous intent. The materials to use to create the lock are of utmost importance. Shoddy brass or copper will give way to a well-placed kick, thereby rendering the lock itself useless. I recommend steel over iron when choosing a material. More robust materials tend to be prohibitively expensive and necessitate the door being made of similar metals. I have been chagrined to stumble across the shattered shell of a wooden chest, its dwarven lock intact and still locked. Once these basics are settled, pay particular attention to the offset of the tumblers. A 7-degree offset to the keyhole will allow a torque-style key to work smoothly, while at the same time causing numerous headaches for the thief attempting to insert non-torque lockpicks. In similar fashion, the springs of the tumblers should be made by different smiths. Each smith will unknowingly create a spring with different tension than his fellow smiths. This variance will also create difficulties for anyone attempting to pick the lock. It's quite a fun one. And as well, it's from someone who knows their stuff. Let's enjoy this picture further. Trials of Saint Alessia. Oh, the Knights of the Nine. Knights of the Nine by Caroline of Solitude. Few people know Few people now remember the Knights of the Nine, but in their time they were famous throughout Cyrodiil, indeed throughout the Empire. For a brief period in the early days of the Septim Empire, their adventures were the talk of the land, but their renown, as with so much else, has been swallowed up by the War of the Red Diamond, and today even the location of their priory house has been lost to history. The Knights were founded by Sir Emil Lannis in 3rd Era 111, following his heroic turn at the War of the Isle, with the high purpose of recovering the legendary Crusaders' relics, the weapons and armour of Pellinal Whitestreak, which had been lost for thousands of years. They were born out of a sense of optimism and ambition that characterised the first century of the 3rd Era. Tamriel was united and at peace for the first time in many centuries. Nothing was impossible. The fame of the Knights was established earlier, when Sir Emil led them against the Worm of Ellinglen to recover the cuirass of the Crusader, which had not been seen since the First Era. Soon the greatest knights of the day were lining up to join the new order, and the Priory of the Nine were in the west world of Cyrodiil became a magnet for the great and the good. The knights were the toast of the empire. When Beric Flindrel joined the order, the son of one of the great noble families of Clovia, it was clear that the Knights of the Nine had become the empire's most prestigious knightly order. In relatively short order, the knights reclaimed 3 more relics, and their fame soared to the new heights with each one. No one doubted that they would eventually succeed in their quest to recover all 8 relics. Sadly, this early promise of the Knights did not survive the ravages of the War of the Red Diamond, which tore apart the Empire beginning in 3rd Era 121, only 10 years later. At first it seems that Sir Emil was able to keep his knights out of the war, But the very success of the knights undermined this, as many knights came from important families across the Empire, which were lining up on either side of the bloody civil war. Sir Beric was apparently the first to leave the Order to join on the sword of Sephiroth, carrying the sword and greaves of the Crusader into battle with him. Many other knights seem to have left shortly after this, some joining the war on one side or another. The end of the Order was as ignominious. The end of the Order was as ignominious as its beginning was glorious. Following the victory of Sephiroth in Third Era 127, Beric of Lindral became an important figure on the winning side. It seems likely that he was behind the Imperial decree which officially dissolved the Knights of the Nine in Third Era 131, although in truth this was little more than a formality. Despite Sir Amiel's best efforts, the Order had never recovered from the bitterness of the Civil War. What happened to the various relics originally recovered to the Knights of the Nine? The Sword of the Greaves went with Sir Beric, but he where he has bestowed them is unknown. The gauntlets famously lie immovable on the floor of the Chapel of Stendarr in Coral, where Sir Casimir left them after his disgraceful murder of a beggar in the Third Era 139. The location of the cuirass is a mystery, lost to the history along with the eventual fate of Sir Amiel, who was last reported still alone in the empty Priory of the Nine by a passing traveller in Third Era 150, and so the Knights of the Nine faded away into obscurity. Let's keep enjoying this picture here. Trials of St. Alessia. From the Trials of St. Alessia. Akatosh had made a covenant with Alessia in those days so long ago. He gathered the tangled skeins of Oblivion and knit them fast with the bloody sinews of his heart, and gave them to Alessia, saying, "This shall be my token to you, that so long as your blood and oaths hold true, yet you shall be my blood and oath be true to you. This token shall be the amulet for kings, and the covenant shall be made between us, for I am the king of spirits, and you are the queen of mortals. As you shall stand witness for all mortal flesh, so shall I witness for all immortal spirits." And Akatosh drew from his breast a burning handful of his heart's blood, and gave it into Alessia's hand, saying, "This shall also be a token to you of our joined blood and pledged faith. So long as you and your descendants shall wear the amulet for kings, then shall this dragon fire burn, an eternal flame, as a sign to all men and gods of our faithfulness. So long as the dragon fire shall burn, to you and all generations, I swear that my heart's blood shall hold fast the gates of Oblivion. So long as the blood of the dragon runs strong in the rulers, the glory of the Empire shall extend in unbroken years. But should the dragon fires fail, and should no heir of our joined blood wear the amulet of kings, then the Empire shall descend, and shall the Empire descend into darkness, and the demon lords of misrule shall govern the land. From the liturgy of the rekindling of the dragonfires. I don't think I've actually got any more books that may be of use right now. Rakshazzah and the Divines. I want to try and read as many of these books as I can about the Divines. Rakshazzah and the Divines by Faustulus Junius, Subcurator of Ancient Theology and Paleonumerology, Imperial Library. The position Rakshazzah enjoys in Cyrodiilic worship is often misconstrued. He and 1,000 other deities have sizable cults in the Imperial City. Rakshazzah is especially venerated in the Calavian West, though he is called Shor there, and the West Kings are resolutely and religiously Nordic. The hiddenness of Rakshazzah's relationship to the Divines, he is often called their missing sibling, began with Saint Alessia, the so-called slave queen of Cyrodiil, the founder of the figure of the original Cyrodiilic Empire. In the earliest Syro-Nordic stories of the Heartland, Rakshazzah fought against the Aelids, the Heartland High Elves, on mankind's behalf. Then, for some unknown reason, He vanishes from the stage, presumably to help the other humans elsewhere, and without his leadership, the aliens conquer the humans and enslave them. This slavery lasts for generations. The isolated humans eventually begin to venerate the path of their masters, or at least assimilate so much of high elf religion practices into their native traditions that the two become indistinguishable. In First Era 244-42, under the leadership of Alessia, her demigod lover Mordredus Breath of Kine, who is a Minotaur, and the infamous Pelinal Whitestrake, the Cyrodiil humans revolt. When Skyrim lends its armies to the Slave Queen to the south, the revolution succeeds. The Ayleid hegemonies are quickly overthrown. Shortly after, White Goldtyre is captured by Alessia's forces, and she promptly declares herself the first Empress of Cyrodiil. Part of the package meant that she had become the High Priestess of Akatosh as well. Akatosh was an Elmeri god, and Alessia's subjects were as yet unwilling to renounce their worship of the Elven pantheon. She found herself in a very sensitive political position. She needed to keep the Nords as her allies, but they were, at the time, fiercely opposed to any adoration of elven deities, which we would notice in the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. On the other hand, she could not force her subjects to revert back to the Nordic pantheon, for fear of another revolution. Therefore, concessions were made and the Empress Alessia instituted a new religion, the Eight Divines, an elegant, well-researched synthesis of both pantheons, Nordic and Elmeri. Shazar, as a result, had to change. He could no longer be a bloodthirsty anti-Alma warlord of old. He could not disappear altogether, either, or the Nords would have withdrawn their support of her rule. In the end, he had become the spirit behind all human undertaking. Even though this was merely thinly disguised, watered-down version of Shor, it was good enough for the Nords. As for why Tiber Septim has not attempted to revitalize Shazar during his wars against the Almeri Dominion, we can only suspect that speculate at the time, memories of the Alessian Order's follies, the Dragon Break, the War of the Righteousness that defeated the Gelnumbria Moors, would only damage his campaign for the Imperial crown. Now, from what I understand that term there, the Dragon Break is a moment where time has a schism, because Akatosh is the god of time, and he's a dragon, and like time sort of breaks, and it's the moment where it's like fixing itself. I think, I'm not entirely sure. I just read about it today, so yeah. What other books would be appropriate to read given? Well, that was a nice sound. Given the subject matter, gods and worship. An overview of Gods and Worship in Tamriel by Brother Hedgefeld. Editor's note: Brother Hedgefeld is an associate scribe at the Imperial University, Office of Introductory Studies. Interesting. Gods are commonly judged upon the evidence of their interest in worldly matters. A central belief in the active participation of deities in mundane matters can be challenged by the reference and apparent apathy and indifference on the part of gods during the times of plague or famine. From intervention in legendary quests to manifestation in common daily life, no pattern for the gods of Tamriel activities is readily perceived. The concerns of gods, in many ways, may seem unrelated or at best unconcerned with the daily trials of the mortal realm. The exceptions do exist, however. Many historical records and legends point to the direct intervention of one or more gods at the time of great need. Many heroic tales recount blessings of divinity bestowed upon heroic figures who worked or quested for the good of a deity or the deity's temple. Some of the more powerful artifacts in the known world were originally bestowed upon their owners through such reward. It has also been reported that priests of high ranking in their temples may on occasion call upon their deity for blessings or help in the time of need. The exact nature of such contact and the blessings bestowed is given to much speculation, as the temples hold such associations secret and holy. This direct contact gives weight to the belief that the gods are aware of the mortal realm. In many circumstances, however, these gods will do nothing in the face of suffering and death, seeming to feel no need to interfere. It is thus possible to conclude that we, as mortals, may not be capable of understanding more than a small fraction of the reasoning and logic such beings use. One defining characteristic of all gods and goddesses in their worship in deeds is interesting worship in deeds. Deeds in the form of holy quests are just one of the many things that bring the attention of a deity. Deeds in everyday life, by conforming to the statutes and obligations of individual temples, are commonly supposed to please a deity. Performance of ceremony in a temple may also bring a deity's attention. Ceremonies vary according to the individual deity. The results are not always apparent, but sacrifice and offerings are usually required to have any hope of gaining a deity's attention. While direct intervention in daily temple life has been recorded, the exact nature of the presence of a god in daily mundane life is a subject of controversy. A traditional saying of the Wood Elves is that one man's miracle is another man's accident. While some gods are believed to take an active part in daily life, others are well known for their lack of interest in temporal affairs. It has been theorized that the gods do not in fact gain strength from such things such as worship through praise, sacrifice and deed. It may be theorized that a number of worshippers a given deity may reflect on his overall position among the other gods. This is my own conjecture, garnered from the apparent ability of the larger temples to attain blessings and assistance from their god with greater ease than smaller religious institutions. There are reports in existence. My darling dearest, I will be with you soon. Sorry about that. I'm playing, and I should be phoning my dear. I will not be long now, hon. Well, you'll know, because I'll have phoned you by the time this goes on. Anyway, this is my conjecture. Blessings. Then easier than smaller religious institutions. There are reports of the existence of spirits in our world that have the same capacity to use the actions and deeds of mortals to strengthen themselves as do the gods. The understanding of the exact nature of such creatures would allow us to understand with more clarity the connection between a deity and the deity's worshippers. The implication of the existence of such spirits leads to the speculation that these spirits may even be capable of raising themselves to the level of a god or goddess. Motasuo of the Imperial Seminary has suggested these spirits may be the remains of gods and goddesses who through time lost all or most of their following, reverting to their earliest, most basic form. Practitioners of the old ways say that there are no gods, just greater and lesser spirits. Perhaps it is impossible. Perhaps it is possible for all theories to be true. There was one more. There's a few books, but if there's none here that particularly interest me. This one might be good. The last year of the first era, because that is kind of related to what we want to do.
What is it? Is there a cure? Has Arelder found a cure? I know there's something he's not telling me. Ah, I've heard it. Terrible curse. Been in the family almost longer than anyone can remember. When I was younger, I could live with it. Wasn't so bad. But until they'd gotten worse over time. I'd come here, to the place it all happened, in the hopes that something could be done. I fear I haven't much time left in life. The elder has let me stay, mostly out of curiosity. But there's something else. I swear there was more. I've seen plenty of pity in people's eyes over the years. I grew up recognizing it. But with Arelder, there's something else there. And when he speaks to me, there are times I'd swear he sounds apologetic. Guilty. Why would that be? What reason does he have to hold back information? I know I'm a doomed man one way or the other.
I think I know why.
Speak to him if you can. Convince him to tell me what he knows as a dying man's last wish. The church is still in turmoil from the attack on the Chapel of Dibella. I don't think anyone has had time to really study this prophet's teachings. My best advice would be to go, listen carefully, and decide for yourself. I've heard tell of a knight questing for the Crusaders' relics. I wonder if he'll succeed before another chapel is desecrated. You've seen them, I assume. The only evidence of what happened so many years ago. I tried for hours. I don't know why they're still here.
I will tell you. Sorry about that. Bloody skipping.
I'm honored to speak to the champion of Cyrodiil.
Compulsion to
What do
just
you
press, just spam buttons. So I'm sorry about that.
I cannot face him. I know what might be done for him, but I haven't the will to do it. I wish I could help him. Truly I do. But I cannot muster the strength to damn myself on his behalf.
Yep.
The curse. I know what would lift it, but I cannot do it. The only way to free Kellen of his curse is to take it on myself. I am not strong enough to do this, and so I am a failure. I fail Kellen every time I speak to him, and I fail Stendar every time I pray to him and do not ask for the power to lift the curse. Do you know one who would do such a thing? One who would pray at this chapel's altar, pray to Stendar for the power to lift this curse? I've told you, the only way to lift the curse from Kellen is to pray to Stendar for the power to free him. But that means taking the curse on yourself. You'll be marked for life, as will all your children and your children's children. Good day.
So we can take the curse off him. But to lay hands.
You? How did you? I feel good. I feel good. I don't feel like death. I feel like running. I can't believe it. I feel normal. Thank you so much. You have no idea what this means to me. I finally have a chance to get out and see the world. I'm not wasting another second of my life. And I'm forever indebted to you, friend. Farewell.
I'm honored to speak to the champion of Cyrodiil. What do you need?
You too.
So now I have the curse of fatigue. Is that it? Oh no. I've lost 5 fatigue out of my 395. I know, Knight Commander as well. Nice. Interesting, there's 2 factions
Hello
there.
there. Welcome, Knight Commander. Oh, those. You'll want to speak to Arelder about them. He's in charge of keeping people away from them. I wish I had witnessed the avatar of divine Akatosh myself. In Coral, we Highlanders treat our god's teachings as rules to live by. Our lives are governed by the 10 Commands.
As stated in the book, The 10 Commandments and Divines.
Goodbye. You look like a shrew.
Hello.
Welcome, Knight Commander. You lifted the curse? But that means that now you've cursed yourself. Why would you do such a thing? Be seeing you.
So now I can take the gauntlets.
I can't believe you were willing to do that for Kellen. To sacrifice your own well-being without hesitation. What business do I have acting as a priest if I'm not willing to do all I can in helping those who need it? Perhaps I need to rethink my calling.
I'm Otius Loren, Primate of Stendar.
Goodbye.
But can we use the gauntlets? We can indeed.
Please, leave me be. I need time to think on what I've seen and done. Farewell.
So we have the gauntlets. Let's head back to the priory. Share the good news. Excuse me. Do I still have the curse? I do indeed.
Well met, Sir Knight.
Oh, hello.
I find myself here, at your disposal. I want to make up for the mistakes I've made, and devote myself fully to the faith. If it pleases you, I would join your order and serve the Nine at your side. What say you? Very well. I will remain here, if that's all right with you. Perhaps you will reconsider in the future. I am still eager to join the order. Have you reconsidered? Thank you. It means a great deal to me. Excuse me while I gather the equipment I need.
So we've got our first knight of the order. It's looking good.
Greetings, Sir Knight. Greetings, Sir Knight.
That's not your audio that's screwing up, that's the game.
It is an honor to serve under you, Crusader.
Interesting that he's no longer an essential NPC. Oh. Nice. Get those for the others.
How may I serve you, Commander? May your sword strike true.
Greetings, Sir Knight. May your sword strike.
Oh, nice, an acid grove, that's cool. Yeah, again, it's spooky.
Commander.
So, where to now? I think I'm missing a chat with the Crusader.
Oh.
Unless I could perhaps speak to the Prophet, maybe he has some ideas. But,
Have you had any luck retrieving the mace? Goodbye.
see, I know what I need.
You're a sneaky-looking sort.
A pleasure to speak with you. Andel Indaris is an intemperate, bibulous philanderer, and a dark elf. Other than that, he is perfectly suited to be a count.
Good grief.
Goodbye.
Man's wife died, for Christ's sakes. Nope. I think I need to speak to the ghosts then. Because maybe they only give you so many quests per turn. Let's also speak to the prophets as well.
Good to see you.
If he's not really kip. Well, if he is, I'll just disturb him.
You are fortunate. A vision from the Divine Crusader himself is a sign of high favor. A vision from the Divine Crusader himself is a powerful sign. You are truly blessed by the gods. Hold to your purpose, and you may yet fulfill the prophecy. Pelennor was taken by the aliens after his battle with Umaril, and his body cut into 8 parts and scattered across their realm. After the fall of White Gold Tower, his friend Morahos the Indomitable found Pellennor's still living head, kept alive in torment by alien magics. Over the ages, knights have quested for the relics, and sometimes one or another of them have been found, but never for long. But now, the time has come for a new Divine Crusader to arise, wielding the holy relics, to destroy Umaril Godsbane once and for all. I have seen it. May the 8 and 1 guide your steps.
So, interestingly enough, there is actually a there is a mod that takes you back to the first era. I don't know the name of it, but it's like if you go on like the Elder Scrolls wiki, no, Reddit, subreddit, you can actually find.
What's going on with you?
Oh, hello.
I've heard that the Nords of Skyrim have been warring with the Redoran of Morrowind. The Nords have always been protective of their territory. It's no wonder they get involved in these disputes. Be seeing you.
Grief.
Hail, Sir Knight. My brother and I have heard that you are founding a holy order of knights, and we would like to offer you our sword.
Well, and my axe.
We've come all the way from Skyrim to join up. We can't claim any experience as knights, but we learn soldiering from our years in the Legion. Will you have us? You won't regret it, sir. You'll find us true-hearted and brave. I'll be back as soon as I've outfitted myself. A pleasure to speak with you. You too.
Let's see if the others have got any news for me.
How may I serve you, Commander? Walk with the knight.
I don't know what it's called, that mod, but yeah, like you can actually go back to the first era, and you can actually see Pelennel's head on the, like, the big sort of table in the White Gold Tower, where Chancellor Carter is, and as well, Morahos, the Winged Bull.
I wish to see you succeed, but I failed. I was on the path to the boots of the Crusader, but died before I reached them. Do you wish to learn what little I know?
I would, because this is what I need.
Can I tell you exactly how to find the boots? For that will be up to Kinneret. I can tell you to seek out her priests, though. West of the Imperial City, on the edge of the Great Forest, is a shrine. You will find them there, and they will tell you what you need to know. The wars of men undermine the service of the Nine. Do not follow in our mistakes. The boots are safeguarded by Kennereth herself. You must be tested and prove yourself worthy to acquire them. Walk with the Nine, Sir Knight.
How may I serve you, Commander? May your swords...
Greetings. The boots have been guarded by Kennereth herself for the longest time. Sir Junkin went after them and never returned.
If you are true to the teachings of Julianus, it may be possible for you to find the shield of the Crusader. When the Order crumbled, I set out on my own. After years of searching, I found the shield and brought it to Fort Bulwark for safekeeping.
Ironic.
With the help of a few trusted friends, I began work to keep the shield safe for all eternity. I never saw my work finished. I died defending the fort from those who would take and misuse the shield. I never saw our work finished. I trust that the others carried on without me. History and knowledge are his domain. He is the god of wisdom and logic. He teaches us, know the truth, observe the law. When in doubt, seek wisdom from the wise. It lies in the southeast of Cyrodiil, near the Black Marsh border. If all went according to plan, it should be very well guarded now. Believe in yourself, and use your knowledge wisely. You will pass through unharmed, and the shield will be yours.
This is a real puzzle, if I remember correctly.
Look to the southeast of Cyrodiil to find it. I cannot say for certain what is inside, but be prepared for anything. The shield is safeguarded within Fort Bulwark. It is protected, and care must be taken when attempting to find it. May the Nine guide your way.
Have you recovered the Mace of Zenithar?
I am at your... When Sir Junkin died while questing after the boots, I mourned his loss. Now I wonder if perhaps it was a mercy that he left us what he did. May your sword strike true.
So...
Greetings, Sir Knight. Greetings, Sir Knight. Hail, Commander. How may I serve you, Commander? It is an honor to serve under you, Crusader. You too.
Any ranks now? Okay, so we have some more things to do. We need to get the boots of the Crusader. Like we shall, but we're going to do that in another part. Just look how cool we are there. Oh, we're brilliant. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do next part. We're going to get the boots of the Crusader so we can get the mace, and then we can look awesome with the shield. But until then, I need to get off and talk to Medallion Tourist, and then continue with this. I imagine the next part of this will be the last of Dance of the Nine. I would like to do the Deidre quests, and then hopefully wrap up, and then we'll be playing Fallout 3. I'm very much tempted to play Skyrim and Morrowind and online as well, but no, I think I've had quite enough Elder Scrolls for the time being. I really want to play Fallout. I know I can do two simultaneous things, but I'd rather not. I don't have to focus my energies all on one series. But yes, I will take a moment now to say thank you ever so much for watching, because it has been an absolute pleasure to have you all watch and talk about this series with me and see why I love this game. I'd be more than happy to play this game again, with a different build, 10 different choices, with more refreshed information, and maybe as well return to it as well with different mods. If there are more quest mods out there, like I've still got a Restore Kvatch, so that might be something we come back to whenever. But yeah, in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Take care. It's time for now, and yeah, it's been quite emotional. But we'll do Knights of the Nine, Daedra quests, see how tomorrow. If we can, unless I'm gonna be level 50 for that. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, thank you ever so much for watching. Take care, and it's time for now.